really leaned into our co-hosting business that we've been building. I don't want to say we just started it because really everything's been it took a while to build up our processes and our connections and everything to get that going. But, we just launched our first co-hosted property just last month. And now we've got several properties that we've got under contract and several more onboarding. And so it'll be making $100,000 real quick here, just a few months left to launch.
Welcome back to The Broke Billionaires, where we document our daily struggles in building wealth while raising a young family. Join us as we talk creative wealth building for everyday people and couples that are struggling in a down economy. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Joshua Masari, and we'll be your hosts.
Welcome back.
It's a little bit of a different week this week.
Just a bit.
We actually did not put out an episode last week. We tried.
We did try. A for effort. We got about a minute in. Didn't realize we forgot to hit record, but we got a minute in while I was in labor at the hospital. We cleared it with our nurses first, but we got all set up and started, and a contraction came, and then the nurses came in and got me on Pitocin, and then there was really no time to continue. And I was kind of excited. I was like, oh, well, at least we got that minute or two and real and raw of the nurses coming in. And then you told me what?
I forgot to hit record. It was such a whirlwind trying to get everything set up in the hospital.
This is not the first time you've forgotten to hit record, though.
That is true. At least we didn't have any guests on.
That's true. So good news. I am no longer pregnant. We welcomed a healthy baby boy. We didn't know the gender, so that was a fun surprise. Our son that wanted another girl was not as upset as I thought he would be.
Yeah.
He still makes some comments, but yes, we took last week off, just home now, enjoying all the newborn snuggles and adjusting to life as a family of 6 with 4 kids, 5 and under.
Yes. It's
saying it out loud really just
pretty crazy, pretty wild.
Yeah.
So yes, new little baby Bo Jackson.
Bo Jackson.
Yeah.
If we sound like we don't have as much pep in our step, we haven't been getting too much sleep, and we're up late doing this again after trying to get him to bed. So
yes,
we're gonna try and sneak this in before he wakes up for his next feeding. We'll see if we can make it happen.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at the notes that we have here. So we wrote these show notes last week, and it was kind of a crazy week. We usually try to record either Sunday night or Monday night, and worst case scenario, Tuesday night. So I can stay up all night and edit, and we can still drop Wednesday morning. We didn't get a record Sunday. I think it was, I don't know, where we coming?
Mother's Day.
It was Mother's Day, and so we didn't get back till late. Monday was just crazy and wild. So we're like, we'll just do it tomorrow morning and get it knocked out in the morning, and then I'd still have all day and that night to edit. And then you went into labor, so we never.
My water broke.
Yeah,
a nice slow rupture where you don't really know if it broke or not. It's a really fun guessing game to play.
So I didn't get to the hospital till later that evening. Met up with you, and then didn't tell you that I brought the equipment just in case, and you were feeling good, so we were going to try to sneak the episode in.
I was totally ready. We got a picture in. I was like, we're going to do this. This will be a really cool episode.
That would have been kind of fun, but oh well, life happens. But I'm looking at the show notes here, and everything that was in our updates from last week is no longer an update because things have changed. So we were, still pregnant, waiting on a baby, so we can't really talk about that anymore. Yeah. Permit sign-offs were going to be coming this week, and we were doing our final inspections. Well, we did do that already. we got final sign-offs on this project we're finishing up, and that is done. And we are getting ready to. Well, there's still a few things. We still have the outdoor kitchen that needs to be finished up, but the main permits have been finalized and signed off. So just kind of doing some little finishing touches on the home, and finishing up this outdoor kitchen, and we will be completely done. So we've set July 1st, so about 6 weeks of just final finishing everything up, and getting it furnished if we're going to go the furnished route, and then getting this house put into service. And we've been getting a lot of action on it. So I don't know which direction we're going to go as far as whether it's furnished or not, but I don't think we're going to have a hard time filling it. The house is absolutely stunning. Came out really, really, really good. We're pretty proud of this project.
It's crazy because when we bought this house, I was the end of my pregnancy with Isla.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, and
When
then
we
now we have another
closed.
kid. Oh, this
Yeah,
project.
when we closed, I have a picture in the front yard of the day we closed with Isla.
That's right.
And then I was like, oh, I'll have to get a picture in the front yard of this house with this baby at 9 months pregnant. I didn't get that picture, and the tree's no longer there either. So I guess
This project took.
I'm actually kind of sad I didn't get that picture.
This project took way too long.
Started 9 months pregnant with a baby and ended 9 months pregnant with another baby.
It's crazy.
That is really crazy.
Any other updates? We're still broke, but things are looking up. So this is interesting. I was working on a loan application a couple weeks ago, and had to fill out our net worth for part of this application. And even though we are broke and seems like we're going backwards, which cash wise we've literally liquidated all the cash that we possibly could liquidate. Our net worth is still actually going up.
Is it?
From the time that we've started the podcast to now, it's gone up probably $250,000-$300,000, and we've spent a lot of money. We've had a lot of a lot of retirement accounts we liquidated.
Yeah.
Properties we sold, and just spent cash to get the project done that we're working on and try to get caught up. So even with all the cash outlay we've had, we have still built up wealth during this time. Even though it keeps getting harder and harder, we're actually getting wealthier and wealthier, which is kind of funny, but kind of a testament to what we do or how we do things and why we do it this way, because it's gotten to a point where it's snowballing and it just keeps building even when things don't seem like they're going in the right direction.
That is, I can't really wrap my mind around that.
It's very interesting.
It is interesting.
And then last episode, we talked about making seven figures with 10 different income sources of $100,000. Since we spoke about that, we have really leaned into our co-hosting business that we've been building. I don't want to say we just started it, because really everything's been it took a while to build up our processes and our connections and everything to get that going. But, we just launched our first co-hosted property, or got our first co-host tenant that we were getting paid on just last month. And now we've got several properties that we've got under contract, and several more onboarding and bringing to market. And now we're also doing marketing for some co-hosted properties where it's not a full service. It's just a marketing portion to help fill it, because we're getting so many leads. We're filling properties. But I really think in the next couple months, with everything we have working, there's a very good chance that we'll be at 6 figures. It'll be a 6-figure business. There's no overhead. There's no overhead. There's no, there was no investment. That was really just a business that we built with an existing network and knowledge and of our processes that were in place in our network. But all of a sudden, we just have this additional business we added to our portfolio that's
we didn't really
didn't really,
plan on or
yeah,
intend to. I mean,
yeah.
it kind of just
And
very
it's a
organically.
6-figure business. It'll be making
And
$100,000 real quick here,
yeah,
just a few months after launching it, and it's and continue to grow. I mean, I think that's going to continue to grow, and we'll have to start bringing on help at some point. But
yeah.
that could continue to grow
Like you said,
way beyond
the
that.
net worth started snowballing, and so did this very quickly too.
Yeah,
I think that you've done a really good job kind of branding us as just a reliable person to go to in this area. And like you said earlier, we're getting more requests than we have houses to fill right now. So
yeah. So
it's
we've
like
done a really good job of marketing in our area, and
yeah,
just with the platforms that we list on, and we see all these leads that come in, and we're we have more leads than inventory. So that's why we're starting to co-host, is trying to fill inventory or create inventory to be able to place these leads. But we're handing out referrals now, and just because we don't have inventory for it. So it's kind of created an opportunity for us to build a business that we weren't really anticipating or trying
yeah.
to build.
Just like I said, very, very organically and kind
Yeah,
of just like a maybe we should try this out. Like,
yeah,
what's the worst that can happen kind of situation.
yeah. We had an interesting scenario that we took on. There was this couple that travels a lot. They kind of do what we've talked about doing, just going to Europe for 3 months at a
Mhm.
time, and then leaving the country to reset your 90 days, and then go, kind of just jumping around. But they have this house that they wanted to rent out, and they were renting it out on Airbnb as a short term rental. But they were trying to do that while they were traveling, and um, just not being here, and just wanted to explore a co-host to see if that would help fill it, so they weren't
Mhm.
having so many vacant days while they were gone. And we pitched them on the third on midterm, so that's all we do. So they liked that idea because they could get somebody in there to eat up more of those vacant days while they were gone. And so we got them under contract. They signed our agreement, and then this all happened while we were in the hospital. So it was kind of it took a few days to get set up, but I got back, got their property integrated into our or got set up as the co-host, got everything integrated, and happened to have a lead come in that was, it just happened to be in
The
the area.
dates were just
The dates worked
perfect.
out. Yeah, because they were gone they were already in Europe, and they had, another 2.5 months or something like that before they come back. And the dates on this lead were like perfect to fill it. And so we matched that up, and that they ended up booking the next day. Like, it just worked out. So that doesn't always work out that quickly, but
Yeah.
somebody they signed up into our program, and we literally filled their house the next
No,
day.
that one was
So they're super stoked on that, because now their house is renting with one tenant for the whole time that they're gone in Europe. So it was a great fit. So we're going to continue doing that and building that out, but that's also kind of goes into what we're going to talk about today. We're going to dive into our midterm strategy a little bit more. I think we're going to do a few episodes on this, because this is such a big part of our portfolio right now and our concentration.
yeah.
But today we wanted to dive in. We've talked about this in a lot of episodes, but it's just kind of touching here and there. So we want to dive into more of the setup, the initial setup. So, if there's somebody out there that wants to get in this space, which is a quickly growing space, one, there's just a big need for it. And two, because so many cities are shutting down the short-term rentals,
Yeah.
it's, people are getting stuck with these properties that they bought as an investment
They don't know
to
what to do
do
with them.
short-term rental, and they don't know what to do with it, because all of a sudden you can't rent for less than 30 days, because you're getting, I mean, some of these cities are doing like $1,000 per day that you get caught with
Yeah.
a guest in
It's
there.
insane. But which we've realized there are different needs for short-term guests versus midterm guests. And so that's
Completely different.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's a completely different business model.
The marketing's
And
different. The way you set up your listing is different. The leads.
the way you set up the house is different. Like,
Yeah, it's pretty. I wouldn't say that. It's the same. What's the difference? That's one thing that's not
there's
really that
certain
different.
things that,
Like what?
like we talk about, like the mattresses,
Yeah, but
the
I feel like
quality
you
of
would do that.
things
Yeah, there's a few differences. There's things that you have to have in mind.
that someone's going to
Yeah,
stay
that's true.
for,
Yeah,
not just a
yeah.
weekend.
I'm just
Like, what
thinking
are
like
they gonna
overall,
need?
if somebody has a short term that's set up, it's really it's easy transition, which is what we've been doing a lot of lately. So
Just making those like fine tooth kind
yeah,
of tweaks.
yeah, it's true.
Okay, so so it's not like a huge difference in terms of the setup, but there are differences that you have to take into consideration when someone's going to be staying there. A decent quality mattress and pillows for someone that's sleeping on it for 3 months versus 3 nights, makes
Yeah,
a
yeah.
makes a big
So
difference.
we're gonna go into the setup and how we do it and what's worked well for us. So whether you're looking to buy a property or maybe you have a property you live in now and you've always wanted to turn it into something like this, or if you got stuck in one of those situations where you had a short-term Airbnb type setup and your city just outlawed it and now you don't know what to do. So um, MTR is what we call this. It's short for midterm rentals. It's basically that in between the short term rental and the long term rental. So it's just an in between market. And it's really, we didn't really know the need for this before we started it. We have a friend out that has a couple of properties in Arizona that started doing this several years ago, and it kind of blew me away because I didn't realize there was a market for that. I'm like, do you actually always have your properties full? Like, who's renting it? And he's like, yeah, like there's, it's actually a pretty good market for it. And this was in Scottsdale. And so Scottsdale's got a lot of winter time.
Snowbirds is
You got snowbirds that come there from like Minnesota or cold areas, and then you've got a lot of stuff going on. There's the
spring, like sports.
You got spring training is out there for baseball. You've got the waste management open, so that takes place every year. You got all these different events. So, but again, it's more like the short term type rental stuff. But there's a lot of people that will go out there for spring training. They'll go out there for a whole month. They'll go out there and but then I was like, well, what about the rest of the year? So I didn't really know where the rest of those leads were coming from. And it wasn't really until we started doing this that we just realized there are so many people that have a need for a rental property that they can rent for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days and have it furnished and ready to go. We've got
so many scenarios,
and it's different. It's different every booking we get where it's like, oh, I never really thought about somebody looking for like that. So, we get a lot of transitional living. So people getting relocated for work, or they took a new job and they've got to move to a city, our city for, to start work, and they've got a family and they move their family, and, they don't want to be stuck in a hotel and they just need somewhere to go. And they don't know the area, so they don't know what neighborhood they're going to buy in or rent in longer term. So they just need something now, get set up, go so they can start working and then figure out where they want to be. So we do get a lot of those, and those are like 2 to 3 month stays at a time.
We also get a lot of the home renovations or like insurance claims, a lot of flooding, we haven't really had too many fire. It's been mostly floods, I think.
Yeah, I think it's mostly flooding.
We actually had one of the families on our son's baseball team saw one of our listings because they had a flood in their home and they were in a rental, in a midterm rental, and needed a new one. And they had seen ours, which was kind of fun they didn't realize that we did this on the side, and just saw our photo and they were like, hey, we know that.
Yeah.
Kind of a small world. But yeah, I mean, I don't think we realize the need for this type of.
So we'll get like renovations, whether it's an insurance claim or just people doing renovations,
choosing to do
doing
it.
a full renovation on their home, and they got to move out for a few months at a time. So we'll get those. We do get a lot of those snowbird type guests. We just had somebody check out of one of our properties on a 3-month stay from Canada. They come to California once a year just to come have fun in the sun, get away from the bad weather. And that's just an annual trip they do. They work remote and they just come to Orange County every year. So there's that. There's we've got somebody checking in that it's this woman, her daughter's about to have a baby, and so she wants to be closer to her daughter to help out, and so she's coming in for 3 months just to be there to help out, and instead of being in a hotel. And I don't know the situation. Maybe their daughter's a small place or something, doesn't have room for her, but we've got some of our smaller units. We get a lot of like travel nurses, people doing residency, clinical rotations. We get a lot of interns, a lot of international interns too.
The international ones I was really shocked on.
Yeah, so we'll get a lot of people to come in, just a single person coming in to do either an internship or some sort of trade school program. And they'll come in for a few months at a time.
That's usually their company setting that up too.
Yeah. And we've actually had some people where their headquarters were located in our city, and it was cheaper for the company to put them up in a rental than a hotel. So we've gotten those. We've had people. Our very first guest was a family that was used to live in Orange County. They moved to Canada and they're moving back to Orange County, but they brought their nanny with them for a couple months. Like I think it was like a 3-month stay.
Yeah.
Just to help get settled and everything. So they just wanted somewhere nearby for them to go and have their own little space. What else have we gotten?
Yeah, I forgot about that one.
Oh, we've had some athletes.
Some athletes doing their like training programs out here.
Those were Olympians. They were training for the Olympics.
Really cool.
That was
that was our first one
for that property.
Yeah. We've had some people that just have not had great luck finding a long-term rental. They kind of came here, I think, trying to figure out what area they wanted to be in, and just really couldn't find a good spot and just kept extending their stay. And
they actually just checked out, but they were with us for almost a year.
I was going to say, how long? I don't even remember how long they were with us for.
I think it was probably close to, maybe not quite a year.
And it started like 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
Just kept extending. Yeah, we've had a lot of all over the board.
We had people come in from medical situations where it was like a family member had a medical situation, so they came to help out and needed a comfortable place to stay. We've got a booking that we just did on it's a group of friends doing traveling abroad. They're coming to California just to check out California for a while, because we do live in an international like destination location.
I guess I never really thought of it like that until we started getting some of these requests, and so many of them being international. Yeah.
So it's a group of 6 friends, and they needed a place for 2.5 months, and they've got like they're coming on they're getting their visas set up, and then they've got jobs lined up, so they're like going to be lifeguards for the summer. And so again, cheaper than getting a hotel, more comfortable than getting a hotel.
Definitely.
And there's going to be a lot more, situations that we are not even thinking of that we're going to end up, booking for. So there's just a lot of reasons people book these sorts of rentals. You can also get into contract work where you're getting contracts with like construction companies. So there's a big construction project in town, and the company has to send all their workers to that city. So instead of getting hotels, a lot of times they'll rent these homes and, get a 3, 4, 5 bedroom and maybe they'll get a couple of these too, but it's more cost effective for them to do that than to get everybody their own hotel room for 6 months or whatever it is for that duration of that project.
Yeah.
We haven't gotten one of these, but I've heard that airlines will sometimes rent crash pads for their flight attendants turning around on flights, and so they'll come in late
I
at
was
night.
wondering about that,
Yeah, they'll come
actually.
in late at night and not leave till the next morning. And so when they have these routes, sometimes they'll rent a place, a furnished place that's they just call it a crash pad for those flight attendants, so they don't have to put them in a hotel when they have those routes.
I have a friend that's a flight attendant. I remember hearing about her crash pad. I didn't know that the airlines set those up usually. I wasn't exactly sure how that
And I'm not really sure if the
works.
airlines do it or if it's maybe just the flight attendants
Group of
get in
flight
on it.
attendants.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But I would imagine that if the airline sends you to a city and you're stuck in that city and you can't get
Yeah,
home,
they
they're,
would
they're probably either giving you a stipend for it or setting something up. So
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's funny you said that, because I was kind of thinking, like, I mean, all of our properties are very close to the airport, especially
yeah.
the main one that we talk about so often now.
Yeah, so that's a good point. Like location, like this doesn't work everywhere.
Yeah.
I would say that there is a market for this in a lot of places, but if you live in a really remote area, there's probably not going to be a big market for it
Right.
because we don't get the vacation destination type of renters. We get a few of it because we are, the proximity close to the beach. We're in Orange County. There's Disneyland. There's a lot to do here. So we might get some of that in the summertime, but
But those people typically are not staying for 30 plus days.
right. Well, no, that's what I'm saying is we do get some of that, but it's not it's not the core of our business. So it's not, it doesn't work everywhere. So if you have a property that's very remote, it may not be a good market for it. And, you got to look at you got to comp it out and see what this goes for to make sure it even makes sense. So in our market, we find that if you figure out the long-term rent for a property, your midterm rental is going to be about 1.5 to 2 times the rent. 1.5 on the low end, 1.8 is a good average. If you're close to the beach, or you've got a house that's like brand new, renovated, like kind of like ours usually are, you got really nice furniture, good interior design, then maybe you can get closer to that 1.8 to 2 times. But you're not going to get short-term rate. Short-term rental rates might be like 3 times of long-term rates. You're not going to get that, but you make up for it on occupancy. So you got somebody in there for 90 days and there's no vacant days. You're making money for 90 days straight with no missed days. So compared to short-term where you got people coming in for the weekend, 3-4 nights, and then you've got 3 or 4 days each week that are vacant, you're not getting those vacant gaps. So you're getting 100% occupancy. So a lot of times that actually ends up making just as much money or even more because you don't have the vacancy. You also have less expense. So you don't have as much turnover. You don't have, people aren't coming in and running the AC 24/7, leaving lights on, going through all the supplies and asking you to restock it. Like typically we give starter supplies on these houses and then we never hear from people again. They go get their own toilet paper and paper towels when they go to the grocery store.
Yeah.
And they tend to be, this is their home for a certain amount of time. So these guests tend to be more mindful of the homes, not as much wear and tear as like a normal short-term renter would be. So they take care of the homes a little better because it is their actual home for that amount of time. And they tend to be a little more energy efficient or conscious, not running AC all the time and just kind of being a little more respectful and mindful of those things. So your operation costs are lower than a typical short-term rental would be as well. So that's another thing that it kind of sets it apart. But as far as setting it up, once you find a location that makes sense and you comp it out and you've got something that you think will work, one of the things is, you are going to have, so I would say one of the things versus long-term rental is that you are going to have to furnish it. So you got to fully furnish this property and you've got to have fully stocked kitchen. So all the cookware, flatware, everything ready to
And
go.
please don't go to Goodwill
Oh, gosh.
and buy mismatched things just to put it in there. I mean, go to Target, go to get something off Amazon, get something that just matches and it doesn't look like you just took 2 cups from your grandma's house and 2 things from your mom's house. And there's nothing that drives me crazier than going into a rental and seeing like a hodgepodge
Yeah,
of
some
just
of
like
these are so bad.
random.
And like the comforter on the bed that's
Gosh, the floral
the floral
comforters.
from your
I
grandma's
can't.
house. It's just like it's
I
so
can't.
bad.
It's like a bed in the bag from Bed Bath and Beyond from like 2001.
Yeah. So let's kind of get into how we do this and how we set apart, because we have nice homes. We renovate them and we have pretty high end homes to start with, but we also furnish them. They're well pointed on the furniture and all the flatware and everything. So we don't go cheap on that, but we also don't go super high end and go crazy.
No, not at all.
On a 5-bedroom home, I'd say we'd probably spend about $15,000 on furniture. So it's really not that crazy.
Yeah.
3-bedroom home, we're probably about 10 to 12,000.
Mm-hmm.
So the trick is finding, cost effective furniture, but good quality stuff.
Right.
That's going to last, and that we're not going to, we're not trying to cut corners and just get something real cheap in there that's going to be uncomfortable for people while they're there. So,
right.
Mattresses, I always tell people, get a decent mattress, get something that you would be okay sleeping on yourself for 3 months.
Yeah.
Put yourself in that home and you got to sleep on this mattress for 3 months. So is that going to make sense?
Just a quick disclaimer. The information shared on this podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered as financial, tax, or legal advice. Always consult with a qualified professional before making any financial decisions. Your individual circumstances may differ and require specific strategies not discussed here. Now, let's get back to the show.
And pillows.
And pillows, yeah. So for the mattresses, we do Nectar.
Mm-hmm.
We get the standard Nectar bed in a box, and they run about $650. And it's a decent quality mattress. It's nothing too crazy or high end, but it's comfortable and it's a decent mattress. We don't, we try to tell people when we're helping them set up, stay away from like the Amazon $200, $300 mattress, because they're just you're going to end up replacing it. You're going to have complaints.
Amazon is great for some things, but not a mattress.
Yeah, it's not. It's just, again, put yourself on that. Would you sleep on that mattress for $300 for 3 months straight? Probably not. You're probably not gonna want to do that.
Yeah.
The other one that's supposed to be really good, which we don't have, is the I think it's called a Helix. A lot of MTR operators put those in, but it's another bed in the box, but it's a high end one.
Okay.
But they find returns.
Oh.
So they'll get ones because so when you get these, these bed in the box companies all have a 30-day trial or whatever. So if you don't like the mattress, you send it back, and so people will do that and they send it back, but they can't resell that because somebody's already slept on it. They can't sell it as new.
Right.
So you can get those lightly used mattresses, and you can get those. I've heard that there's places on Marketplace that will sell the returned open boxes, and you can get those for like $600 or $700. But there's one that's called the Midnight. It's like a $2,500 mattress. Supposed to be super comfortable. But I've looked, like in our area, they're really hard to find. It's like, I'm sure they exist, but people just buy them really fast, so they're really hard to find. But yeah, so that's, mattress. You don't have to go crazy on a mattress, but just don't go too cheap. Neutral colors throughout your interior design, so your couches and dining and curtains and everything, just stick with neutral. Don't do flower print, don't do checker, don't do anything with print. Just go a solid color.
Yeah. I think unless you have
unless you know what you're doing,
specific property and it's done really well, and it's like
you got a beach theme and you want something like,
oh my gosh, but the beach theme, like, don't have it be a cheesy beach theme.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of them that are pretty cheesy.
Oh, we've seen so many.
Like the nautical, but like it just threw up nautical everywhere, and it's like, and then none of it matches.
It's like nautical from like the 70s.
Mm-hmm. It's not like trendy or anything.
It's not like a Ralph Lauren nautical.
Right, yeah.
It's like a It's not cute.
Yeah, and there's no such thing as trendy floral. Just don't do it. I don't care. Just don't do it.
You can tell he really has a thing against floral.
It's just grosses me out. I just think that it's got to be a 30-year-old comforter. I'm sure they sell them new, right? But it just like gives me that as old, dusty.
This could be
grandma's house
jumping
vibe.
ahead, but just because it's a good segue. Another good note, do a duvet cover. Don't do an actual comforter.
Yeah.
Something that can be washed easily and
Yeah, so let's get into the bed. So this is how we do our bedrooms. Okay, so we always do larger beds. Like don't do a smaller bed because it's cheaper or because it fits the space better. Or we do a king in the master always, and then every other bedroom we do a queen. Unless you can't fit a queen in there, put a queen in there. If you can get a queen in there and the door will close and you can get around it, put a queen in there. We have a 225 square foot studio where the actual studio portion, not including the bathroom, is about under 200. It's under 200 square feet, and we have a queen in there.
Yeah.
We knocked out the closet, have half the closet, the bed, and half the closet, and we put a queen in there. Like don't try to put a smaller bed because you are really going to limit the marketability of it. If you get a tall person's not going to be happy in a full. I'm 6'4" and I don't fit in a full. My feet hang off the edge. It's just not comfortable.
I mean, even I really debated with like this house. There's a great opportunity to set it up with like bunk beds in one of the rooms. But we've kind of gone back and forth of, does that limit our marketability? Is that really only then going to attract families if we do a bunk bed setup versus
right? So you want to
really have to kind of think about what your house is and what.
Yeah, so you want to try to be attracted to as many people as possible. You don't want to limit your demographic that you go after. So if you make it set up for a family, well, now you're kind of stuck with just families if you have it too family oriented. So the queen beds are just a really good way to appeal to everybody. So you can put 2 kids in it instead of doing a bunk bed. You can put 2 kids in a queen bed. If you have a 5-bedroom house, maybe you can have 1 bedroom with bunk beds and get away with it. But sometimes you'll see a 3-bedroom house that's got two rooms, a bunch of bunk beds, because they were probably trying to get beds in there for a short term.
Yeah,
as a vacation home, so they're trying to get bed counts in there. So I think that's one of the differences between the two is with the short term, you just want as many bed counts because you'll have groups that'll come in for a week or a weekend, and they want to stuff as many people in that house as possible. So you're trying to up your bed count. So they've got pull-out couches and all these bunk beds.
Do you remember that one house that had like just a random twin mattress in the living room? We saw it online.
I don't remember that.
Oh, there was crazy. Like a weird corner that was like the couch, and then you look over and it was like just a twin mattress set up.
Yeah, that's random. But they're just trying to get beds so they can put it on the listing. This is a totally different type of listing, and you don't want to do that in this scenario because it's more about bedroom count and having families be comfortable. So that's one difference. It's not bed count or head count, it's bedroom count and just setting it up comfortably. So try to stick to queens and kings in your bedrooms, unless, again, if you have a 5-bedroom, maybe you can get away with some smaller beds for one of them, but don't have 3 of the rooms with bunk beds because you're going to really limit on other groups. Because if you got 5 couples that are looking for a home, they're not going to go in bunk beds.
Right.
So you just completely took yourself out of the market for those type of people. And then, so our market, I think this is probably pretty consistent across all markets. The 3-bedroom, so the studios are the most, like we have, if you have like a studio, like a detached ADU or some sort of separate unit, like studios and 1-bedrooms are in such high demand. We're booked out 6 months in advance, and we have same-day turnovers almost every single turnover. Somebody leaves at 11 o'clock in the morning, and then we get somebody else checking in at 3 p.m. like clockwork, and then they're there for 3 months. And we have so many requests on these studios. So if you've got an ADU or you've got some sort of situation where you can have a small unit like that, those are really hot in this market.
We had one of our current guests want to extend, and we couldn't because it was already booked.
Yeah, there was already 2 bookings after them. So we're sorry, but it's already booked. But as far as the homes, 3 bedrooms tend to be
Sweet
what
spot.
that we see the most for in our market. Not to say that you can't do it with a 4 bedroom or 5 bedroom, because we do. When those requests don't come in as often, but there's also less inventory on those. So when there is somebody looking for a 4 bedroom or 5 bedroom, you might be the only one or one of only a couple houses in that city that's offering that product. So it's kind of I wouldn't buy all 5 bedrooms, but
No.
it's kind. I think we have a easier time, or we get more leads on the 5 bedroom house that we split up into multiple units and rent as a 3 bedroom, because the 3 bedroom always has requests for it.
Yeah.
And at first we were a little nervous because we didn't know what we're doing. We weren't getting that many leads, but now that we've built up our lead network, like, we won't have a problem filling that ever. The 5 bedroom we have, we are getting interest in it, and it's a high price product, but people are still wanting to book it. So there's definitely still a market for it, but we don't get calls on it every other day like we do with the 3 bedroom. So there's definitely, again, there's not as many there's not competition. There's not as many out there. So when somebody needs that, you're going to get that booking because you're the only one doing it. So you're still going to fill it, but it's just not as much demand. So 3 bedroom, I think, is kind of a safer, easier product to fill.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I know Vivian says that in her market. So again, this is market specific.
Yeah.
In the Austin market, she recommends not buying a 3 bedroom because there are so many of them on the market there that it's saturated.
Too many.
And so she recommends to buy a 4 bedroom because there's not very many of them. And so they have an easier time filling 4 bedrooms just because there's people looking for 4 bedrooms, but there's no inventory. We have no inventory, period. So California is just a different market.
Austin is such a bachelorette destination too that, actually, never mind. That's
a weekend thing.
That's a weekend. So
yeah, she also does short-term stuff for in between bookings, and she runs kind of a hybrid model. But I think 3 bedrooms. I think that one of the reasons is because that's just a family dynamic that you see, at least in California. You don't have as big of families, maybe.
Yeah.
But also, at least in our city, the 3 bedroom to 4 bedroom ratio, it's like 70% of the homes are 3 bedroom.
Yeah.
Or, at least 60 to 70%. So the majority of people living here have a 3 bedroom. So if their house gets flooded, they're going to need a 3 bedroom. So that's just our area. So again, this is market specific. Maybe you're in a market that has a lot of 2 bedrooms, and 2 bedrooms make more sense. But our market specifically, 3 bedrooms seem to be the hot ticket.
Absolutely. I think too, with the insurance stuff, like you said, is they're going to place you in a house, right? So
right.
3 bedrooms.
Well, they're going to try to give you less, but you can fight.
They will try. They will try to put you at a dirty little hotel down the street, as we have found out. But they're not going to pay for more than what you have, essentially.
Right. Yeah. So you got a 3 bedroom. They're not going to put you in a 5 bedroom.
Right.
Yeah. Well-stocked kitchen. We kind of already hit on this, but just having a well-stocked kitchen with everything matching. So not having mismatched plates and cups and silverware, just having everything cohesive and presentable, and kind of that design and home sweet home touch, I guess.
Right. I think too, for this one in particular, it's important to, where you're buying these pieces from, buy something that can be easily replaced, so that if you do have a couple glasses or plate, bowl, whatever break, you can easily replace that 1 or 2 versus having to get an entirely new set.
And for example, we do a lot of stuff like the flatware we get at Crate and Barrel. So it's got a good, clean, neutral look. It's modern. And so it's just it appeals to a lot of people, but it's easy to replace because they always have those.
They always have it. Yeah, we don't do any of the specialty ones or anything fancy. Yeah. We just do their basic collection that they always have.
We're spending a little more on that versus going to Target or or Amazon or whatever. So we're getting a little bit nicer stuff. But again, we have higher end homes in a more expensive area. So I kind of feel you got to kind of stock
People
it to
kind
our
of expect
clientele.
it that way. Yeah.
Right. So you got to meet expectations. Like maybe you're in a market that's not as high end. And so maybe you don't need to do that, but you still need to match it and make sure that, you want to create a comfortable environment for people because, especially some of these insurance claims, people are going through a tough time and, you don't want them to hate where they live for that period of time.
Right.
It should be comfortable.
Right. What else with the kitchen?
So don't go cheap on the coffee maker.
Yeah, I was
So
just gonna say that.
I know I'm not a coffee drinker, so you can probably speak more to this, but our properties, we have Nespressos in all of our properties, and then we provide and we only give them one sleeve. We give them a starter sleeve, and then they buy their own coffee after that. But we do the Nespressos, and even our studios have the Nespressos, and I think people really appreciate that because that's kind of a nice thing you wouldn't normally see in this type of rental.
Yeah, I agree. So we have a starter pack of the coffee, and then I always like to have like cream and sugar on hand because you get in late to your rental and the first thing you want the next morning is a cup of coffee and you don't have it, and there's just nothing worse than that. So
yeah, so that the starter sleeve is important just because people get in whatever situation they're coming in on. That way they've got coffee the next day and they don't have to rush out to the store to buy it. So they get a sleeve of 10. I think there's 10 capsules in a sleeve. So I think that's a nice touch. Another thing that we've started doing is this idea we got from a home exchange property we stayed in personally for over Christmas in Bend. This family had a nugget ice maker. And
oh yeah,
you've always talked about wanting one of those, and it was so cool. Like I feel like you just had nugget ice all day, and you were just in heaven.
Oh, I loved it. It was great.
So we actually went and got one of these for our family and it wasn't an expensive one. It was maybe $150, just a countertop one. So nothing crazy.
It's amazing.
Yeah. But I feel like, we go through so much ice.
Our kids will not drink room temperature water.
Yeah. Our daughter, our 18-month, she likes to just chew on the ice.
Yeah.
Like, just like, oh, ice. So that's something that we're testing out with our family to see if that's something we want to roll out to these other properties. It's a little bit of an expensive appliance that you don't necessarily need to have, but it creates an experience, like a memorable experience, something that not everybody's going to have, but they're really going to enjoy and use it while they're there. And it just kind of is a nice touch, and it just gives a lasting, because you gotta also be working for your reviews. Here's the thing about reviews. Reviews are extremely important because the better your reviews are, the higher up your listing shows in SEO. So you want to have really good reviews, and you become like a super host and all this stuff with like Airbnb, for example, and you start getting featured and your listing is just more visible. But with midterm, you're not getting very many opportunities to get reviews, because instead of having somebody, instead of getting 30 or 40 bookings a year, you're only getting, 3, 4, maybe 6 bookings a year. So that's not very many opportunities for reviews. So you really got to, at least at the beginning, you really have to make sure you're getting good reviews.
Yeah.
Because if you got four reviews, one bad review, and it just knocks your overall rating down really quickly. And it's hard to build that up without a lot of reviews coming in.
Right.
So just creating that user experience is so important.
The last thing I'll say too is you mentioned a well-stocked kitchen, and I mean like a well-stocked kitchen. I first realized the importance of this when we rented that house for your 40th on Balboa. And that was the first vacation rental that we had been in. Because I usually bring a lot of stuff. If we're local, like I will bring, especially if we're entertaining at, that weekend, obviously we were hosting a bunch of your friends. Like we were in kind of party mode, and I brought so much stuff, our entertaining like dishes and things like that. I showed up to that house and I didn't need a thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, this is so nice to have. And it was a higher end home. Absolutely. And it was just so nice to have that. And that's one of the compliments that we've gotten on reviews is how well stocked the kitchen is. And just, people are not having to buy things to get by for the next couple of months while they're there. So those are just whatever you would have in your own kitchen is what you want to put in these kitchens here for your rentals.
Yeah, and a lot of times we've done like the last property that we set up, we lived in that house, and so we set it all up with a lot of the furniture and all the kitchenware and everything, and we just left everything. So we bought stuff, made sure it was fully stocked with what we would want, and then we just left everything in there, and then it was already set up and ready to go. So that's one way you can do this. If you're living in a home that you want to do this with, get everything set up, and then, buy everything, get it all stocked, and then just leave it.
Yeah.
And then move, and then buy new stuff for yourself.
Yep.
Exactly. You got to buy it either one way or the other. Might as well just leave it. That's the way it's ready to go. And then buy new stuff for yourself.
Exactly. Another good one that we personally experienced, having an EV charger. And again, maybe this is market specific, but there are so many electric vehicles in our area, and it is rare to find a rental that has a charger.
Yeah.
And there's nothing more inconvenient than having to go charge your car every day or every other day because you don't have a place to plug it in.
Yeah, that's true. And we tell all of our owners that we're consulting with and taking on as co-hosted properties that we recommend adding this to their property. And we also say you don't need to add it right now, but you need to have it available. So you can do an EV charger available upon request. And if you get a guest that needs that, then you just get it installed at that point in time. And you're not paying for this electricity; they are paying for it. So
right, that's
there's
a good point.
When they're charging their car, they're paying additional fees for charging. So we recommend getting. There's different ways you can do it. We recommend getting the Tesla universal charger, which works on all charging ports, Tesla and other brands. But you have the app, and you can track how much usage they go through, so you know how much to charge them. You can also get other ones that are credit card based. So people actually would have to.
You can buy those for.
Yeah, I just found that out. One of the properties I met with today
interesting.
had that. I was like, I didn't know you could do that.
Oh, same. I thought that was commercial only.
They had it set up to where the guests. So in their situation, it's multiple guests that are on that property that would be using it. So it's hard to decipher who's using it and who's not.
That makes sense.
But they just put in their credit card or have the app or whatever to be able to charge. So that way that they don't even have to deal with it.
That is very interesting.
But yeah, EV. So when people are searching for a home, and like on Airbnb, it's a selection. It's an amenity that you can select. Got to have an EV charger. They select that. And if you don't have that on your listing, you're not going to pull up.
I think that's a good point too about things available on request. Baby stuff. Obviously, we're in a young family situation, and you don't need to have a room set up with a crib but have a pack and play available upon request. Have baby gates.
And if you don't have it, that's fine, but put it in your listing that you have it. And if you get somebody that needs it, then just buy it at that time. But put it in your listing so that when people are searching for, a place that has a baby crib or a pack and play, that you pull up.
Right.
You got the baby high chair. So because people will search for the stuff so they don't have to travel with it. And you want to make sure that you're pulling up with it in as many searches as possible.
Right. I would say baby gate is a huge one if you have a 2-story home. Because, oh my gosh, the number of houses we go to that have so many stairs and no gates with young kids is just so frustrating. High chair, and then crib or pack and play available.
Huge.
Those are the 3 main ones I would say are definitely need to be on there.
Yeah, that's good.
Hey guys, if you're finding value or just want to follow along on our journey, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. That would help us tremendously. You can also follow us on Instagram @TheBrokeMillionaires and be sure to share with your friends. Now let's get back to the show.
We kind of started talking about this earlier, but we do, for our linens, we have a specific linen program that we employ. And part of that is we do new sheets for every single guest that checks in.
And before you come after us and say it's wasteful, because we get that a lot. So
we do new sheets. We're not buying crazy expensive sheets. They're Amazon basics. We buy a new sheet set. So they're getting a flat sheet, a fitted sheet, pillowcases. We got 4 pillowcases that are brand new, and then a duvet cover. So anything you're sleeping in and touching is brand new. No one's ever slept in it. And we tell our guests that these are brand new, so they know it. They appreciate it. It's a better user experience. And we tell them they can take them with them. And we've had people take them because it's a free set of sheets. And
Yeah,
so they will
most
take them
people
with them. Not everybody takes them. Some people do. Some people leave them. But the people that do leave them, we don't just throw them in the trash. We recycle them or donate them to the cleaners. The cleaners love it. They love cleaning our properties because they get free sheets. That's
all the time.
Yeah. So
and it saved us on the cleaning fee because they're not laundering sheets every time.
Yeah, exactly. So people are like, "Oh, it's so expensive, though." I'm like, "Look, if you're doing short term, then it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. But when someone's coming in for 2-3 months at a time, it's not really that big of a deal. And because our cleaners are not having to launder all of the linens, they're not there as long. They don't have to wait for everything to wash and dry before they can leave and put it back on. We give them a new set so they're ready to go and put new stuff on right away. And so we save a lot of money on the time savings there, and it actually makes up for what we spend on sheets. So it's a wash. So it doesn't actually cost us more at all and creates a much better user experience for our guests. And our cleaners are happy because it's easy in and out for them.
Yeah.
They can get a job, a big house done in 3 hours versus 6 or 7 having to wait around for all the laundry to finish drying so they can put it back on.
Did this start when we were in our rental last year and we bought our own sheets because you were grossed out? Is that kind of how that idea came about?
No, because we started with sheets, like washing them and it was like we were throwing them away anyway because
that's right.
there would be like hair we couldn't get out of it, or there would be like weird stains, like nail polish stains on the mattress. I'm like, who's doing
who's painting their nails in bed? I don't.
So we were just throwing stuff away. And it's like, you know what? Let's just stop buying expensive sheets and just get cheap, basic ones and just do new ones for each person. And it's just been such a lifesaver on that.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Yeah. Another thing that we've done, and I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing. I recommend it because it's worked well for us, but we get a jump on the marketing. So professional photos are an absolute must. You need to do professional photos for your listing because it will make you stand out. Like, I don't care how good of a phone you have and how good you think you're at photos.
No.
Getting professional photos is huge because not only do they take good photos with really expensive cameras that look good, but then they Photoshop them. They'll Photoshop in the fireplace going and something on the TV and brighten everything up, and it just makes it look, even if it looks superficial, it doesn't matter because it looks better than the listing next to it. Yeah. So if you don't have professional photos, you're going to be missing out on opportunities just because your listing is not showing as well as other ones.
Yeah.
So that's a must. But before you actually go live with it, what we've done is we have always booked our properties before they're even available. And so before it's even furnished and we're able to take photos, we'll take photos, we'll set up a room, take a photo, set up another room, take a photo, and get enough photos to make the listing so we can start marketing it. And we've always gotten it booked on that first booking. And then once we put it together, we'll get the professional photos for the next time, for the next, marketing after they move in. But we've always just, instead of waiting until it's completely set up and ready to go before we even create the listing, we start months ahead so that we can start marketing and get that first guest before we're even done with construction a lot of times.
Yeah.
So that's something that we've done, and we've been pretty fortunate. We've always been able to fill it ahead of time. And so I wouldn't discourage people from doing that because, why not? Why not get it booked? And so, you've got that first guest in there and you're ready to go.
Just make sure you set up your calendar correctly.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think best ways to market your midterm rental are?
Yeah, so it's a little different than short term. Some of the key differences from a short term rental is, obviously we talked about some of the things that you want to show up in listing, having the EV charger, things like that, where in a short term rental, it's not going to really matter as much, but with a midterm, somebody's coming for a few months at a time. It's going to be a big inconvenience to not have that. Having a bathtub, we've talked about that as being a big one. We've looked at some of our co-hosted properties that we've possibly be taken on, and the ones that don't have a bathtub, it's like you're going to have no family's going to rent that. No young family's going to rent that with little kids that need to be in the bathtub.
Yeah.
So something that people don't always think about. So think about that. When you're remodeling and taking out all the bathrooms and putting in all these nice showers, if you don't have a tub, you're not going to be able to market that to young
Yourself,
families.
for sure.
Yeah.
And again, I think that is dependent on your bedroom count, right? If you're in a 2-bedroom, a studio, something like that, obviously not as important because the likelihood of a family booking one of those is not nearly as high. But if you're in that 3 to 5 bedroom range, I think for sure,
Yeah.
definitely need a bathtub.
Yeah, and some people can do what we call like a hybrid model. Well, they can do midterm and short term. So if their city has an outlawed short term rentals and you can do both, what you can do is you can do 30-day stays, get your calendar full, but then if you've got gaps in between, you can fill those gaps with short term. We don't do that because in our market they don't allow that. So we only do 30 day.
Right.
And so we've kind of come up with ways to control our calendar so that we don't get gaps that we can't fill. And we try to encourage bookings that are sooner so we fill our calendar chronologically and incentivize people to do that. But, we don't have the ability to fill in those gaps with short term. So we've been pretty fortunate to not have gaps. Like we don't really have a lot of gaps. And when we do have gaps, we'll take a future booking because it's a really good booking. We've been able to fill in the 30-day.
But we're very mindful about
But we've turned down a lot. So if we get we've had several this year that have come in for like July, like 3 or 4 months in advance, and it's for like 1 month, and it's like, well, it's only 1 month, and it doesn't really make sense to take a 1 month booking in a busy month. We know we're going to fill anyway, but now we kind of limit ourselves leading up to it where we could have a bigger gap. So we turn those down because it's not worth it. But
it is a bit of a gamble.
It's a bit, yeah. But when somebody has it, they're going to book it for 3 months. We take that, and we'll take that risk because we know there's still a good chance we can fill it in. But at least it's a 90-day contract, so
right.
That's a decent size booking. And these properties that we have in our market, we're renting these properties for close to $150,000 a year. So, it's a pretty high revenue market here. So, it made, a 3-month booking, at $12,000, it's $36,000. So it's a pretty decent, we don't want to turn something like that away. So you definitely got to figure out, what works in your market and how you're going to control your calendar. Most of our Airbnb is still where the majority of our leads come from. So we still get a lot of leads from Airbnb. We also use VRBO, Furnish Finder, apartments.com, and Zillow. And then we have a big network of placement providers that we've built up. So these placement providers work with the insurance companies when there's a family that has a claim and needs to be placed into a home. So we've kind of built up our reputation around here. When they've got a placement, they just call us now and be like, hey, do you have anything, 3-bedroom in the city or anywhere nearby? So that's kind of how we've built up, and that's kind of how we've made our co-hosting valuable to other owners because we've got all these lead sources now, coming in. And when we market one property, if it, we'll get a request, but we've already filled that date. Now we've got a lead that we can move over to another property. So it's kind of just snowballed with the more properties we have and that we're marketing, the more leads we get. We're just kind of sharing leads back and forth between properties in our portfolio. So it's really, started to pick up, but it wasn't an overnight thing that we built up all these relationships and all these lead sources.
Right.
It took a little while with our own properties to build them up, to be able to build these lead sources, to be able to start co-hosting and leveraging that network.
Absolutely. Reviews are so important.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about that.
Yeah.
You don't get a lot of review opportunities with midterm, so you really, really have to make sure you're creating that really good user experience to not get bad reviews.
And you have to leave a review first on the guest in order to see a review.
Yeah.
I don't know if it sends them out something, but you have to leave yours first.
Yeah.
So be careful what you say if you want to get a review also.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But I mean, just making people, a lot of times people are staying in a home because they've been displaced and, they're in a bad situation. And so just trying to make them feel at home and feel welcome and make them as comfortable as possible.
Right.
You want to be, hospitality is huge. I just started reading that book, Unreasonable Hospitality. We've had a couple guests recommend that.
Good.
And so, I just started it, but I want to read that and just, I think we should make have all our owners read that too, so that they're kind of on the same page on how we are. But, for example, we are very, like, our hospitality is just naturally like really, really on point, and we kind of go above and beyond for any of our guests. We do a lot of maintenance stuff on our propies. For example, the other night, we just got home with a baby, and there was a sink that was plugged up, and couldn't get a plumber out there till the next morning, and so I went over there to try to deal with it myself, and I wasn't able to handle it. It was a little pretty complicated. I mean, even the plumbers had a hard time figuring out how to unclog this, but I was there at 10 o'clock at night trying to get this figured out. And even though I couldn't do it, I think that they just appreciated me giving effort and trying to make it. And then I even refunded the one guest. It was a studio. They didn't have a sink at all for that whole day. I mean, it wasn't a huge inconvenience because it was the end of the day for them. They left for work the next morning, but they, that night and the next morning, they had no sink that they could use. Luckily, the toilet and the shower still worked, but they couldn't run their laundry. They couldn't, wash dishes. They couldn't do anything. So we refunded it. We didn't have to do that. And I don't think most owners would do that, but we gave them, 2 nights refund because it was a repeat guest. He'd already stayed with us once before. And so it was just a good, I just felt that they deserved it and it was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of owners try to pinch pennies and not do that. But it's, I just think that we're really good about being hospitable and no, you deserve a refund. So we're going to do that just because it's the right thing to do.
So much so that I just have to brag on him for a minute. One of the properties, the main one that's broken into multiple units, he goes over every week to take out the trash because take it out and then goes back the next day to put all the trash cans back. I've never seen an Airbnb host do that.
Yeah, but it's also because there's 4 units, and so it's not really fair to have one unit responsible for that.
Right.
Also, I'm really particular about our trash cans, keeping clean, putting liners in them.
Big trash can, trash truck family.
We had one tenant that wanted to do it themselves, and I was like, okay, that's fine. I told them where the liners are and everything, and they never put liners in. And when they left, I had to go wash all the trash cans out because they were just disgusting.
Oh, they never did it?
No, I hate dirty trash cans. So I always put liners in our trash cans, and then everything has to be bagged up before it goes in the trash can. And so it's like our trash cans are clean. Like you can get in our...
You better believe if you drop a bag of poop in our trash can, if it's on the street for trash day and he sees
I get pissed.
Oh, he is coming outside.
I will come out and grab it, and I will probably throw it at you. But... it would just bother me because I had to wash the trash cans. I was like, if I kept the trash cans clean for years, and then these people just like throw trash in because they don't care, and but then they smell, and we got people walking by it, and so it's important to keep the trash cans not smelling, and so that's why I try to keep it really clean. So that's one reason.
Our 5-year-old even knows to put a liner in the trash can.
And the other reason too is like it's a big property with a lot of units, and I like to get my eyes on it once a week and have a reason to get over there. So without being intrusive, because it's already listed on that, hey, we come and take out the trash once a week. And we've only had one guest that didn't like that for whatever reason. They want to do it, and maybe they just, I don't know if they just felt bad or if they just didn't like me going to the property.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
I think she probably felt bad.
For the most part, we haven't had a problem. Nobody's really had a problem with it, and they don't have to deal with it. So it's out of sight, out of mind for them.
Yeah,
so
it's great.
Yeah. And then just trying to stand out, like, this is a competitive business. There are other people doing the same thing. So you want your listing to stand out from everybody else's. So just making sure you got really good photos, making sure the first 5 photos are really, really good photos. A lot of people don't do that, but on the listing, you see 5 photos that are featured. And so you want those first 5 photos to be your best photos. And then just having your home, like, we redo homes. So we renovate these properties before we list them. So they're done really nice. We do some cool features in them. They're renovated nicely, and then we do really good interior design. You do really good interior design.
Thank you.
We get a lot of compliments from guests like, "Who's your interior designer?" Like, and I'm like, "That's my wife." Like, I pay her well, but she
Questionable.
she eats. She's not hungry.
Oh my God.
But just having all these things done nicely helps us sets us apart from everybody else, because you look at other listings and they're not done. They don't have great photos.
Yeah.
They're not, they've got the floral print. They've got, houses.
Just hodgepodge of furniture too. Nothing's cohesive.
Yeah. And so it just makes it that much easier for you to stand out and get more bookings, and also charge more. So you can be on the higher end and get away with it because you've got a better product and you've created value.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. And then just the last thing, once again, just amazing guest experience. So all of our reviews, people rave about the experience and how, responsive we are.
They're responsive.
Yeah.
That is important. Be responsive.
Yeah. So, we're always responding right away. And if it's something that we can't handle, get it fixed as soon as we can. But at least we're letting them know that we're on it. We're taking care of it.
Absolutely. I think that about sums it up for this amount. I feel like we could talk about this for so long, but
and we're going to have to break this into other episodes.
Definitely.
We'll go into more like the marketing, and then we'll probably go into the co-host, how we built that business, and we'll do some more episodes on this for sure. But closing recommendations. Come back to this book. So it's called Unreasonable Hospitality by Will Guidara. I don't know. It's about a hotel restaurant or a restaurant in New York. And it was like one of the top 50 restaurants in the world. And I haven't gotten very far into it. I just started, but basically they were like 50 on the list of the top 50, which is a pretty big accomplishment, but they were all disappointed that they were last place at this, presentation.
Yeah.
And so they're like, what do we need to do to be better? And then just, it was all about experiences. So
it's a Michelin star restaurant.
yeah, I think so. I don't know. I literally just started the first chapter. But just, we've had a couple people recommend this. And so I think it's definitely a good book.
Read it at some point.
Yeah.
When I'm not nursing a baby, changing a newborn diaper.
Yeah.
A little more rested.
Yeah.
All the things. Living in the newborn fog.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thanks for listening.
So
this has been a production of Rebuilding the
be
Dream
back
Studios.
next week, and hopefully won't miss another episode. So sorry about that, but life got in the way.
I think we get a fair pass.
We get a pass.
We get
one pass. We're not having any more kids, so we can't use that excuse again. But so we'll be moving pretty soon, and get our podcast studio set up over there, and make sure we're staying on top of it. But all right, that's it for me tonight. Anything else to add?
No.
All right, let's go to bed. It's late.
It was so late.
All right, guys, get out there and make it happen.